Hey, what's up guys, welcome to the video. So I know a few of you are wondering what a MUNDA BIDDI hut actually looks like, what kind of facilities they have, and you know, just to kind of prepare yourself for when you arrive at your first hut, like what to expect, what do you need to bring, what don't you need to bring, things like that. So I wanted to take the opportunity right now. I'm at Booner Mundak, the second last hut from Albany, and I thought I'd show you around a little bit. So where I'm standing right now is at the MUNDA BIDDI post, where you come into the hut and then you basically continue on. Everything's fairly well signposted, so toilets are that way, it's telling me, tent sites are that way. First thing you come across is the bike stands where you can lock your bike up. It's undercover. I mean, there's a few different racks here, so obviously if you want to put your bike here you can. There never really is anyone at these huts, you know, you might see 1 or 2 people. The most I've ever heard of is 8, so you could probably just take your bike up with you. That's what I normally do. Over this way is the tent sites, so we'll walk down there and check those out first. I've sort of shown the huts quite a few times in my vlogs, so if you haven't checked my vlogs out yet, definitely have a look at those. But, you know, they're all pretty much the same, so once you've seen how one is set up, you'll have a pretty good idea. You'll have a pretty good idea about all of them. So the tent sites tend to be like a little bit tucked away from the hut, which is kind of cool because you get a bit more privacy, and they're usually fairly spread out as well from each other, I mean. So we'll just go down to one here. Alright, so this is a pretty basic tent site. Flat piece of ground, it's fairly clean, not really any rocks or any twigs here anyway. Nowhere to lean your bike up really. No cover, no table, anything like that. So yeah, it's pretty much just like camping anywhere really, I suppose. The facilities are a little bit of a walk away, but at least you do have them there. Now we'll go check out the hut. Even though I have a tent, I've never actually camped at one of the huts, because it's kind of like I arrive and then I just want the convenience of having everything right there with me. I think probably the biggest upside to camping at a campsite as opposed to the hut would be if there were other people around and you just wanted some privacy, you know. Cobweb on there. I can see that being painful. I can see that being the reason why I would. Alright, so now past the bike racks and we go over to the hut. So as you first come in, there's usually some kind of bench area that's sort of a little bit protected from the weather. You can see the one here. You can sit there, it's pretty dusty though. There's always an information sign that tells you the name and a little bit about the campsite, things like that. Then you go through. Now there's 2 types of huts. There's the double huts, which are like this, the bigger ones, and then there's the single ones, I suppose, which are half this size. And it just means there's half the bunk space really. So you've got my setup here, and I just had my bug net with the fly on it earlier set up. One thing to keep in mind is you can't always find somewhere to easily strap up a bug net, so you'll need to bring some cable ties or some duct tape or something like that, so you can actually hook up if you don't have, you know, like tent poles or something like that, if you've just got a bug net. So just keep that in mind. This hut is stainless steel, so it's not magnetic, but some of the ones further up are galvanized, so you can attach magnets to it, which is good, I guess. The top bunk might be a bit easier because you can hang stuff over the roof beams, which actually have space to, you know, hook something through. Whereas on the bottom, often you can't fit something through, which is kind of annoying. I don't have a tape measure on me, but I guess that's probably 1 meter, maybe it's like 1.4 high or something like that. That'd just be a rough guess. Now we come out to the picnic area. There's a couple of tables, 2 undercover, and this hut has 2 outside as well. A lot of sun's coming in at this hut, but they're not all like that. A lot are pretty shady. I've just got all my gear splayed out because I just did a gear check video. But there's plenty of space, and normally, I mean, if there's a few people at a hut, like each of you takes a table, or you know, you sort of have half a table each or something like that. It's always worked for me. All the huts have 2 water tanks. See one here, and there's also one on the other side, which I'll show you guys. And here's the other water tank. And they say to treat the water because it's untreated. I don't really know anyone that does. I don't think you're going to have any issues unless maybe you're not from Western Australia or not from Australia in general. I've never had a water tank without water, and I've never had a water tank that has bad water. Maybe I'm lucky, but I haven't really heard of anyone that has had that happen. So there's that. Now we'll go check out the toilet. So they're always drop toilets, and they're usually a little bit away from the campsite. You can see it here. And then inside, often they don't have toilet paper. Oops. But yeah, it's nothing really that interesting to see. This one does have toilet paper. And you just got the drop loo there. I think they locked them to keep animals out. So while I've got my lunch cooking, I'll just give you guys a bit more footage of the hut. This is it on the outside. This is actually a pretty big one. Like I said earlier, a lot of them are kind of half this size. And I know the lighting's not great, but you know, it still gives you a pretty good idea of what to expect. It does get pretty cold at night in the huts, even in summer. This is April now, but last time I did it in January and February, and I was still getting cold at night. So, you know, keep that in mind. You want a good sleeping bag, and you at the very least want a bug net you can hang up, or maybe one of those mosquito smoke coils. They seem to work pretty well, from what I've heard. People definitely use those. I like to be completely cut off from the insects though. That's why I've got my tent, which is a red tail outdoors tent. Recommend. I normally camp down the bottom, not up the top, just because I can't be bothered climbing up there. I guess you can do as you please. You got some dustpan, broom, rake. I always bring a tarp for the huts because they are so dusty, and it's just nice to be able to sit down and climb around without getting covered in shit. Oh, and then all the huts have a tub, sometimes one, sometimes two. This one's supposed to be for food, although it might have been in there. And this one's for the books. And there's this one, which people usually write stories about the trail in. You can see people have written all about what's happened. And then there's this one, which is the campsite registration. It's supposed to be if you get lost or something, they can work out where you've been. So, for example, who's this? Matty Freedom. He sounds cool. Vlogs on YouTube soon. We should check him out. But, you know, I don't think everyone does this, but I'd say most people do. I mean, if the government wants to track us, there's better ways of doing it, like the COVID app. Alright, so that's the video. Hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you got a better idea of the huts now. I'm sure I've missed something, so if you've got any questions, just leave them in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and remember to subscribe because I've got bike checks, gear checks, and vlogs and all sorts coming up. So thanks for watching.